Did you know that adding a fountain to your pond can increase wildlife activity by up to 30%? It's true. Fountains not only make your pond more visually appealing, but they also provide essential benefits for both frogs and birds. From oxygenating the water to attracting more wildlife, installing a simple fountain can turn your pond into a thriving ecosystem without requiring a lot of effort. Let's dive into how you can enhance your pond with just a simple water feature. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're passionate about creating a natural haven for wildlife, today's video is for you. We're going to show you some quick and easy pond enhancements that can attract more birds and frogs to your garden. Whether you're a beginner or just looking for ways to improve your pond's habitat, these tips will help bring your backyard to life. Creating a pond that supports both birds and frogs is all about offering the right elements for both creatures. Frogs, for example, love still water with plenty of places to hide, while birds need clean water and safe spots to drink and bathe. First up, let's talk about shallow areas. Frogs need shallow water where they can easily enter and exit. You can create these by adding some rocks or pebbles to one side of the pond. This gives them a spot to sunbathe and a safe place for tadpoles to develop. Shallow areas also make it easier for birds to wade in and take a bath or drink without risk of falling into deeper water. Let's dive deeper into adding shallow areas to your pond. Shallow zones are incredibly important for both frogs and birds, and here's why. Frogs, particularly, need access to shallow water to enter and exit safely. They use these areas to move between land and water, and they also help frogs lay their eggs. These areas are perfect for tadpoles to grow, offering safety from predators and a warm, sunny spot for adult frogs to rest. When you create these shallow zones, think of it as creating a gentle ramp. Frogs need a gradual slope to easily climb in and out without the risk of getting stuck in deep water. You can achieve this by simply adding some large, flat stones along the edge or creating a gravel patch. By creating these gradual ramps, you give frogs a safe space to rest, lay eggs, and even sunbathe during warmer months. And for birds? Well, birds love shallow water too. These shallow areas allow them to wade in, dip their beaks, or even splash around in a bath. Shallow water gives them easier access to the pond without the danger of drowning or getting too cold. It's also a great place for young birds who are still learning to fly to splash around safely. Creating a shallow area doesn't require much effort. You can even use large, smooth rocks to build a step-like effect that allows both frogs and birds to comfortably access the water. This gives a natural, beautiful aesthetic and serves an important purpose for the wildlife that visits. Now, the key is to make sure these shallow areas aren't just flat, but that they offer varied depths within the zone. Frogs, for example, love to have a bit of variety in their shallow spots, as they can choose how deep or shallow they want to go depending on the weather or their needs. So, mix things up. Small pebbles, gravel, and different rock sizes will create little nooks and crannies for frogs to hide or rest. For birds, this variability in depth gives them areas to dip their feet or splash around with different levels of water to suit their needs. It also makes the space feel more natural, which will encourage more wildlife to visit. Shallow areas are really a game changer when it comes to attracting wildlife. Not only do they give frogs a safe place to thrive, but provide birds with a relaxing, accessible spot to enjoy your pond. And as we said, you don't need to make huge changes. Just a few carefully placed rocks or pebbles can make a huge difference in the health and activity of your pond. By providing these shallow areas, you're creating a thriving ecosystem in your backyard, offering a safe, welcoming space for all sorts of wildlife to enjoy. Next, let's talk about adding some natural plants. Water-loving plants like water lilies, cattails, and reeds provide shelter for frogs, offering them spots to hide and rest. They also help clean the water, which benefits all the creatures that come to visit. Birds will also appreciate these plants because they provide perching spots and places to hide from predators. Now, let's talk about adding natural plants to your pond. Plants are absolutely vital when it comes to supporting wildlife, especially frogs and birds. Not only do they provide shade and shelter, but they also help maintain water quality, making the pond a healthier environment overall. Cut to a shot of water lilies, cattails, and reeds growing around the pond. Let's start with water lilies. These beautiful plants are a classic addition to any pond, and they serve multiple purposes. The large, floating leaves provide shade and cover, which frogs love, especially in the hotter months when they need to cool off. They also act as hiding spots, giving frogs a safe place to relax or escape predators. Water lilies also provide a perfect surface for frogs to rest and sunbathe. The flowers are a great touch, attracting insects, which will, in turn, attract birds to your pond. It's a win-win for both the amphibians and the birds. Next, we have cattails and reeds. These plants are a fantastic addition to any pond, especially for frogs. Their tall, vertical stems create an amazing habitat for both tadpoles and adult frogs. Frogs can climb up and perch on them to catch some sun, and the dense growth provides protection for young tadpoles from predators. Cattails also act as a filter for the pond, helping to keep the water clean by absorbing excess nutrients. That means a healthier pond environment for everyone. Plus, these plants provide excellent cover for birds, offering them places to hide and hunt for food. And don't forget about submerged plants like hornwort and anacharis. These plants grow beneath the water surface and provide essential oxygen for the pond, improving water quality. They also serve as hiding places for both tadpoles and adult frogs, offering them protection and a safe spot to retreat. Submerged plants like these are essential for maintaining the ecological balance of your pond, as they prevent algae blooms and help keep the water clear, which benefits both frogs and birds. When the water is clean, birds are more likely to visit for drinking and bathing. Floating plants, such as duckweed and water lettuce, are also a great choice for your pond. These plants float on top of the water, providing shade and shelter for both frogs and birds. They create a cooling effect on the water and offer a safe, shaded area where frogs can escape the midday sun. Cut to a shot of duckweed floating gently on the surface of the pond. Birds will love these plants too, especially during hot weather, as they create natural resting spots. Plus, the floating plants help to reduce evaporation, ensuring your pond stays at the right water level. By adding a mix of floating, submerged, and marginal plants, you're creating a layered habitat that offers shelter, shade, and food sources for a wide variety of wildlife. Frogs can find everything, basking, and breeding, while birds have plenty of perching spots and a clean, safe water source to drink and bathe. These plants don't just improve the aesthetic of your pond, they make it an active, thriving ecosystem. Over time, you'll see more and more wildlife coming to visit, all thanks to these natural plants. So, whether you add a few lilies for a pop of color, cattails for vertical shelter, or submerged plants to keep the water clean, you're helping to create a balanced, thriving environment for your frogs and birds. Natural plants are the backbone of any wildlife pond. With just a little effort, you can turn your pond into a lush oasis that will support frogs, birds, and so much more. Here's a fun one. Create a muddy bathing area for the birds. Birds love a little mud for their baths, especially when it's near the water. Simply dig a small patch near the pond and keep it moist. This will create a perfect, natural mud bath for your feathered friends. Mud baths are especially helpful during the dry months, giving birds a chance to cool off and clean themselves. Next up, let's talk about one of the simplest but most effective enhancements you can make to attract birds to your pond: a muddy bathing spot. Birds absolutely love a little bit of mud. Mud baths are a natural part of their grooming routine, and they're especially important during the warmer months or dry spells. Mud baths are great for birds because they help them clean their feathers and remove parasites. Birds also enjoy dusting themselves in mud to keep their feathers in top condition, which is important for keeping them waterproof and well insulated. Creating a muddy bathing spot doesn't require a lot of space, but it does require a little bit of planning. The key is to find a spot near the water that stays a bit moist but isn't fully submerged. The mud needs to be soft and wet, not dry and crumbly, so the birds can dig in with their beaks and feet. You can create a small depression or shallow hole right next to the edge of your pond. Just make sure it's a bit lower than the surrounding ground, so the mud stays moist. You don't need a deep hole, Just a couple of inches is enough to create a perfect muddy spot for the birds to roll around in. Once you've dug the hole, you can fill it with a combination of wet soil and leaves. This creates the perfect muddy mixture that birds love. If you want, you can even add some small pebbles around the edge of the mud bath, so the birds can perch on them while they're waiting for their turn. Try to keep the spot moist by occasionally adding a bit of water, especially if the weather is dry. You want it to stay soft enough for the birds to really enjoy themselves. Birds are naturally drawn to these muddy areas, and it doesn't take long for them to start visiting. Whether it's a quick splash or a leisurely soak, they'll love having a designated area to cool off and clean themselves. A muddy bathing spot can also attract a wide variety of birds. Different species have different preferences for bathing, so by offering a mud bath, you're giving them a unique and safe place to freshen up. You might see sparrows, robins, even larger birds like crows, all taking turns in the mud. In addition to being a fantastic spot for bathing, the muddy area can also attract insects, which are a natural food source for many birds. This makes the mud bath even more appealing, as birds can enjoy a quick snack while they're there. Adding a mud bath not only provides a vital resource for the birds, but also adds a natural, rustic charm to your pond. It's an easy and inexpensive enhancement that you can do in just a few minutes, but it will attract birds and make your pond even more engaging. A muddy bathing spot is a great way to encourage more birds to visit your pond while adding a unique feature to the landscape. It's easy to create and brings a lot of joy to your local wildlife. So, grab a shovel, get some soil, and create a wonderful muddy bath for your feathered friends. It's a simple enhancement that will provide endless entertainment and support your local bird population. Thanks for tuning in. If you try this out, let us know how it goes, and be sure to share your muddy bath success stories in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more pond-enhancing tips. Logs and stumps are a great way to provide extra shelter and perching space for frogs and birds. Frogs love to climb on logs to bask in the sun, and birds will enjoy resting on them, especially when they need a break from flying. These also add a rustic, natural feel to your pond, blending beautifully with the surrounding environment. Now, let's talk about adding logs or stumps to your pond. This is one of the easiest yet most effective ways to improve your pond habitat. Logs and stumps provide so many benefits for both frogs and birds, offering shelter, perching spots, and even places for animals to bask in the sun. Let's start with the frogs. Logs, especially large, flat ones, are perfect for adult frogs to climb onto. Frogs love to bask on sun-warmed surfaces, and logs offer them a place to rest and soak up some heat after a long swim. They also provide a dry area where frogs can retreat when they need a break from the water. Logs and stumps also create excellent hiding spots for frogs, giving them a safe, sheltered area to avoid predators. If you place the log partially in the water, it offers frogs the perfect access point to move between land and water. Logs that are partially submerged provide a perfect resting spot for frogs, offering easy access to both land and water. This is particularly helpful during breeding season, when frogs need to move between their egg-laying spots and their resting areas. But logs aren't just for frogs. They're also a great addition for birds. Birds love perching on logs to rest, observe their surroundings, or wait their turn to bathe in the pond. Placing a log near the water gives birds a convenient, safe spot where they can enjoy the scenery and keep a lookout for predators. By adding a few logs along the pond's edge, you create a safe haven for birds to rest, preen, and watch the action around the pond. It also encourages them to visit more often, since they have a place to perch and survey their surroundings. Stumps work just as well. You don't need to worry about finding perfectly straight logs. Fallen, decaying stumps can add character and texture to your pond, while still providing ample space for frogs and birds to take shelter. Stumps are especially beneficial for birds because they can serve as a great base for nesting or for young birds who need to rest while learning how to fly. A stump, when placed close to the water, provides easy access for birds to hop down into the water for a quick drink or a bath. Adding logs and stumps can also help make your pond look more natural and visually appealing. They mimic the habitat of wild ponds, where fallen trees and branches provide shelter and perching spaces for wildlife. These natural elements blend seamlessly into the environment, giving your pond that rustic, woodland charm while benefiting the wildlife that visits. You can also mix it up by placing some logs half submerged and others fully on land. By doing this, you create different levels for frogs to climb, giving them more options for sunbathing, resting, or just hopping around. It also makes the pond more visually dynamic and for wildlife. The beauty of logs and stumps is that they're easy to find and can be placed strategically around your pond to provide a variety of benefits. Plus, they don't require a lot of maintenance. Just a few logs can transform your pond into a wildlife hotspot. So, whether you're adding logs to provide shelter for frogs, perching spots for birds, or simply creating a more natural look for your pond, it's a simple yet effective enhancement that both frogs and birds will appreciate. Logs and stumps are a great way to enhance your pond, providing shelter, resting spots, and a more natural habitat for your wildlife visitors. With just a few simple additions, you can make your pond a more vibrant and inviting place for all kinds of creatures. Thanks for watching. If you try adding logs or stumps to your pond, let us know how it goes in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more pond tips and wildlife-friendly ideas. Finally, let's talk about adding a small fountain or water feature. Frogs prefer still water, but a gentle fountain can create some movement in the water, making it more attractive to birds. Plus, the sound of running water can be very soothing and will attract birds who are searching for water sources. The movement from a fountain also helps oxygenate the water, making it healthier for all wildlife. And that's it. These simple enhancements can turn your pond into a beautiful, thriving habitat for birds and frogs. Remember, it's all about offering a variety of water depths, plants, shelter, and a bit of fun for the animals. I hope you enjoyed these quick tips and that they inspire you to make your pond an even more welcoming place for wildlife. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, let's talk about a fun and visually appealing enhancement. Installing a simple fountain. Adding a fountain to your pond not only boosts its aesthetic value, but also provides a range of benefits for both frogs and birds. Fountains are a great way to oxygenate the water. The constant movement of water helps keep the pond's ecosystem healthy by preventing stagnation, which is crucial for maintaining a balanced environment for both plants and wildlife. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't a fountain complicated to install? Actually, it's much simpler than you might think. With just a small fountain pump and some tubing, you can have water flowing in no time. Let me show you how easy it is. Start by placing the pump at the bottom of the pond. It should be positioned in a way that it can easily circulate water, ensuring a smooth flow. Attach the tubing, then choose the fountain nozzle or sprayer attachment you like. You can select from a gentle trickle, a bubbler, or even a higher spray depending on the look you want for your pond. Once you've installed the pump and nozzle, turn it on, and voila, your fountain is up and running. The gentle sound of trickling water adds a peaceful, calming element to your pond, while the movement keeps the water fresh and oxygenated. Fountains are also great for attracting birds. Birds love moving water, and the sound of a fountain will help draw them in. It creates a natural water feature that's perfect for drinking, bathing, and splashing around. Birds feel safer around moving water because it masks their presence, giving them a little extra peace of mind. And let's not forget the frogs. Frogs enjoy fountains too. While they don't usually bathe in the fountain itself, the movement of the water near the fountain keeps the surrounding area fresh and helps maintain water quality. Plus, the added oxygen in the water helps frogs thrive, especially during breeding season. Fountains also create ripples in the water, which frogs love. The slight movement of the water can help them feel more comfortable and secure, providing a nice ambience around the pond. You don't need a huge, elaborate fountain to see the benefits. A small, simple one will do the trick. And the great thing is that you can find affordable, low-maintenance fountain kits that come with everything you need to get started. Some pumps even come with built-in filtration systems, which help to keep the water clean and clear. If your fountain pump has a filtration feature, it will help remove debris and keep your pond's water quality in top shape, perfect for frogs and birds. Host, back on screen, walking around the pond with the fountain in view. Another great thing about fountains is their versatility. You can easily add a fountain to an existing pond or even create a new, custom water feature with a small pump and a few rocks. The sound and movement of water are incredibly soothing and will definitely enhance the atmosphere of your backyard. Whether you choose a subtle, gentle fountain or something more dramatic, the movement and sound of water will invite more wildlife to your pond. Frogs, birds, and even insects are attracted to the consistent flow of water, making your pond a bustling hub of activity. So, if you're looking for a simple and beautiful way to enhance your pond, a fountain is the perfect addition. It's low maintenance, highly effective, and adds both beauty and functionality to your outdoor space. A simple fountain is an easy way to make your pond more inviting, and it's a great way to provide a fresh, clean water source for all the creatures who visit. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or want to share your own pond tips, leave a comment below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more nature-friendly ideas. See you next time.